Part 2. The first stop in Flux and Colonel's journey was the massive, neon-lit New Philadelphia hover train station. Their hoods up, moving slowly and quietly, they purchased their tickets from the kiosk and waited in the corner of the station for the next train.
"So who is this swordsmith we are going to see? Do you know him?" asked Colonel inquisitively.
"I knew him," replied Flux. "A long time ago, in a different life. I haven't seen him in many years," Flux said. "And if the rumors I've heard are correct, it may take a bit of convincing on our part to get him to light up his forge again." Ding! The loud notification of the approaching train interrupted our two heroes' conversation as a staccato, robot-like voice came over the loudspeaker. "Train A, east approaching now. All passengers, please make your way to the boarding area." Within a few minutes, Flux and Colonel were safely aboard an otherwise empty hover train compartment as the massive technological marvel began to move at speeds over 180 miles per hour through the night. Inside the car, everything was still, and Flux took this time to get some much-needed rest as Colonel, hyperactive as ever, sat solving hacker puzzles on a vintage tablet device in the seat across from him. After a couple hours, they had reached their stop, the end of the line as far east as the train could take them, and right on the outskirts of the massive black forest. Hoisting their backpacks, the two hackers began their hike deep into the burnt woods, blackened bark crunching softly underneath their feet. After what was only maybe an hour or so, they reached a rather odd sight. In the center of the forest, in the middle of a small clearing, lay two large steel doors, which led down into what seemed to be the ground.
"We're not going down there, are we?" asked Colonel.
"I'm afraid so," replied Flux as he hefted one of the massive metal doors open and began to climb into the dark depth beneath. After walking for a few minutes in near total darkness, heading deeper and deeper into the ground beneath them, Flux and Colonel saw a light up ahead, and soon entered what was, in this context, quite an odd room. Made out of bright, clean, shining steel, the room was empty save for two long metal benches, but the strangest feature lay at the back wall, where standing out like a sore thumb were two huge ornate carved doors, painted with what appeared to be all the colors of the rainbow, and featuring imagery of what one could only describe as dragons of some kind. Then, all of a sudden, a booming voice echoed through the room from what must have been a speaker system of some sort. "Trespassers, I do not take kindly to thieves. Turn around and go back whence you came, or face certain and painful death." Colonel jumped in surprise, and quickly turned to exit the room, when Flux grabbed the back of her hood, stopping her retreat. "Wait," he told her softly, and then in a loud, clear, confident tone, he spoke to the disembodied voice. "Obsidian, we are not thieves. We come as friends." The voice quickly interrupted, booming again over the loudspeaker. "I have no friends," Flux replied, raising his voice. "It has been a long time, but you used to consider me an ally, old fellow, for it is I, Flux." The voice returned, this time muted significantly and with a tone of utter disbelief. "Flux? Is it really you? You old rabbit! I assumed you were as good as dead with all the contracts the architect has on your head. Well, of course you are always welcome. Do you come alone?" Flux breathed a sigh of relief. "No, I bring my apprentice. She goes by the hacker handle Colonel." "Well, an apprentice. You have been busy, old rabbit," the voice replied. "Well, don't just stand there. Come on down." And as soon as the voice stopped speaking, the large wooden doors creaked open, revealing what appeared to be a modern, neon-lit elevator of some kind. "Shall we?" asked Flux, gesturing to Colonel to follow him as he stepped onto the lift. As soon as Flux and Colonel stepped onto the elevator, its bright neon green doors shut behind them, and it began to move downwards at what seemed to be quite a fast rate of speed, and then, as if barely any time had passed at all, it came to a stop and the doors hissed open. Flux and Colonel stepped off the lift and into an absolutely massive underground cavern, littered with various blacksmithing tools, broken weapons, and other random pieces of metal. In the center stood an old, haggard duck, holding in his hand a large sword, glowing blue in the low light of the cave. Flux walked confidently up to the strange character and offered his hand in greeting. The duck took it, setting down his sword at the same time. "Well, old friend, it is you." The two shook hands, and then Flux gestured to his apprentice. "And this is my apprentice, Colonel."
"Hello, sir," she squeaked. "It is an honor to meet you."
"And you, my child," replied Obsidian. "But how old are you? You seem barely old enough to have left your family, much less of age to take upon the mantle of apprentice for the greatest hacker this world has ever seen."
"I'm 14, sir," squeaked Colonel. "And I've been living on my own since I was but 6,
she stated with pride. Flux interrupted Obsidian's questioning. "You might be surprised by this one, old fellow. She has potential unlike anything I have ever seen. When I met her, she was on the run from the architect-funded hit squad of cyberwolves. She had just successfully breached a level 2 cold wall and stolen an entire backpack full of official code bricks from right under the noses of some of the Unified's best soldiers." "Well then," Obsidian said with surprise, "I should not have underestimated you, young one. Flux does not choose apprentices often." Turning his attention back to Flux, the old duck looked at him inquisitively. "So what brings you all the way out here, Sensei? I know you well enough to know this isn't a social call." Flux sighed and replied, "I need a favor." "I need you to make me a code sword," Flux said. Obsidian turned around, suddenly appearing flustered. "I'm sorry, Flux, but I don't make weapons anymore. I haven't lit my forge in years," he went on. "And I couldn't even make you a code blade if I wanted to," the duck continued hastily. "My code forge has been dark for years now, and to light it again to a level where I could forge would require a code battery cell of immense power, and trust me, you won't be finding one of those anytime soon." "I wouldn't be so sure of that, Obsidian," Flux said confidently, at the same time nodding in Colonel's direction. The young squirrel quickly unslung her tactical backpack from her shoulders and reached into its main compartment, pulling out a large battery cell glowing green with many lines of futuristic computer code covering its surface. The swordsmith's jaw dropped in utter disbelief. "Where in God's name did you get that?" he asked.
"I pinched it," said Colonel,
her voice brimming with pride.
"off of one of the megatanks in the Kraken's personal battalion," she continued. "Will it be powerful enough?" she asked.
Flustered, the swordsmith replied, "Well, yes, it is more than enough. However, I vowed many years ago to never forge another blade as long as I live, and I will not be breaking that vow today." Flux sighed again. "Sid," addressing his friend by a nickname the duck had not heard in decades, "I didn't want to have to bring this up, but there is a matter of the favor you owe me. You remember, do you not? Or do I need to remind you of old events?" asked Flux in an almost threatening tone. Wringing his hands, the now shaken old swordsmith quickly replied, No need to rehash the past. I will do what you ask, but this will clear my debt to you in full, yes?" the duck inquired. Flux smiled for the first time all day. "Absolutely. Now please get to work." "We are on a bit of a tight schedule," Flux replied, taking the code battery from Colonel and placing it into Obsidian's still shaking